Jimmy Kimmel. For more than 20 years, he has been a staple of late-night television, a familiar presence who combined comedy with cultural commentary. Since Jimmy Kimmel Live! Premiered in 2003, he has interviewed presidents, hosted the Academy Awards multiple times, turned recurring gags like mean tweets into viral gold, and blurred the line between entertainment and politics. Unlike many of his peers, Kimmel managed to survive the brutal late-night wars, outlasting rivals and carving out a unique space as both prankster and political satirist. His audience came to expect sharp sarcasm, emotional monologues, and a willingness to take sides in national debates. But this week, that long run hit a wall.
As ABC has now suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show indefinitely following comments that he made about Charlie Kirk's killing.
ABC announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live would be pulled from the air indefinitely. Not canceled outright, but not scheduled to return. For the first time in 2 decades, Kimmel's stage sits empty and his future with the network is uncertain. The spark came on Monday night. Kimmel opened his show by addressing the shocking murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
The senseless murder of the popular podcaster and conservative activist Charlie Kirk yesterday.
The nation was already tense, with social media inflamed and political leaders rushing to comment. Kimmel accused the MAGA movement of trying to spin the identity of the shooter, then mocked Donald Trump's reaction, comparing it to a child mourning a goldfish.
Weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
Inside the studio, the jokes landed, but outside, the reaction was fierce. Nexstar Media Group, a massive company that owns dozens of ABC affiliates, blasted the remarks as offensive and insensitive in a moment of national mourning. They quickly announced they would stop airing the program. That decision instantly stripped the show of distribution across millions of homes. And when affiliates walk away, the impact is devastating. Ratings collapse, advertising contracts become shaky, and network executives face an impossible choice: back the host or protect the brand. Disney and ABC responded with the corporate phrase, preempted indefinitely. It avoids the word canceled, which would trigger outrage, and it avoids suspended, which sounds punitive. Instead, it buys time while executives calculate whether Kimmel can be brought back safely. But then the story escalated further. FCC chair Brendan Carr publicly condemned the monologue and suggested it could bring regulatory scrutiny. That almost never happens with late night. When the FCC gets involved, legal departments move into crisis mode, affiliates fear fines, and advertisers get nervous. Suddenly, this wasn't just a PR controversy, it was a business and legal liability. This moment is unusual because it combines 3 pressures at once. Affiliates revolted, advertisers signaled nervousness, and federal regulators made comments on the record. Most hosts can survive one of those. Kimmel is facing all 3 simultaneously. And that's why the decision to pull him was made so quickly. It raises bigger questions. Is this censorship or accountability? Defenders say comedy has always needed room to sting, especially in politics. They point to Kimmel's long history of heartfelt and controversial monologues on gun violence, healthcare, and presidents from both parties. Critics argue that in the immediate aftermath of a killing, assigning political blame crossed the line into recklessness. They insist that when you broadcast to millions on network TV, responsibility matters as much as satire. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Kimmel isn't just any host. He's ABC's late-night anchor, part of their brand identity for 2 decades. His removal shows that even the most entrenched stars are vulnerable. It also shows how much power affiliates still hold in the streaming age. Without them, a national show collapses. But there's another element few are talking about. Disney's wider empire, theme parks, films, ESPN, streaming, is under constant scrutiny. Executives don't want a late-night controversy spilling over into other businesses. That broader corporate exposure makes a cautious move like indefinite preemption the safer play. And it means Kimmel's fate may depend less on artistic freedom and more on spreadsheets in boardrooms. If you think the outrage is the deciding factor, it isn't. The most important numbers are ad commitments and affiliate clearances. Disney will study whether replacement programming can meet those obligations without him. If it can, indefinite could mean permanent. And that possibility has every late-night writer and producer watching nervously, because what happens to Kimmel could happen to anyone. So what comes next? ABC has 3 realistic paths forward. The first is reinstatement. After a cooling-off period, Kimmel could return with a carefully crafted statement and stricter oversight on monologues. The network frames it as a reset, restores affiliates, and hopes the storm passes. The second path is replacement. ABC could test guest hosts, reruns, or even pilots in the slot. If ratings hold steady without him, the incentive to bring him back drops. The third path is cancellation. Disney has cut big shows overnight before when the cost outweighed the benefit. If advertisers and affiliates don't budge, this could quietly become the end of Jimmy Kimmel Live. After 20 years, the financial stakes are huge. A late-night show costs tens of millions each year. Those costs only make sense if advertisers are paying premium rates. If sponsors pull out or affiliates stop airing the program, ABC must provide make goods, free ad slots elsewhere to meet obligations. That liability adds up fast. From a business perspective, replacing Kimmel with safer content might be cheaper than risking further losses. Meanwhile, the FCC's involvement looms large. Even without fines, the fact that the chair criticized the remarks raises the risk for everyone connected to the show. Every future monologue would be scrutinized more closely, and affiliates would push for stricter controls. That chilling effect spreads quickly. Already, writers on other shows are adjusting scripts, cutting riskier jokes, and bracing for new standards. Public opinion is split down the middle. Online, hashtags like #StandWithKimmel and #CancelKimmel trend simultaneously. Supporters call it censorship, saying satire must be free even when it hurts. Critics call it accountability, saying satire should never inflame pain the night after a tragedy. Politicians amplify both sides. Comedians themselves are divided. Some defend his right to provoke. Others argue the timing was reckless. And viewers? Many are left wondering if late night will ever feel the same. Here's why this matters beyond Kimmel. If a host with 2 decades of loyalty to his network can be sidelined this quickly, nobody is safe. Colbert, Fallon, Myers, all are watching. The result could be late-night comedy that is safer, blander, and less political. That may please advertisers, but it risks alienating audiences who tune in for a sharp commentary. Yet there's another possibility. Maybe this accelerates a shift already underway. The migration of edgy comedy to platforms like Netflix, YouTube, and podcasts. On streaming and digital, comedians have more freedom to take risks without worrying about affiliate clearances or FCC scrutiny. Bill Maher, John Oliver, Hassan Minhaj, and countless independent creators thrive outside broadcast television. Kimmel's suspension may push audiences further toward those spaces. Think about the history. Carson set the standard with charm. Letterman brought an edge but kept it playful. Jon Stewart turned satire into serious commentary on cable. Kimmel blended jokes with raw emotion, leaning deeper into politics over time. Some say that made him brave. Others say it made him vulnerable. Now his future hangs on whether Disney thinks his voice is worth the risk. So here's the question. Was this overreach a chilling precedent that silences satire when it's most needed? Was it accountability? A reminder that words broadcast to millions carry responsibility? Or was it simply a lesson in how money and politics dominate network television? The answer matters because it won't just decide Jimmy Kimmel's fate. It will shape the future of late-night comedy. Will network shows still deliver sharp political satire? Or will that energy shift entirely online? Whatever ABC decides, this case will be remembered as the moment the balance between comedy, politics, and corporate power was tested and possibly reset. Kimmel's show is dark, indefinite. That word can mean a few weeks, or it can mean forever. And the decision made now in Disney's boardrooms will ripple across American culture for years to come.